Hi friends and subscribers, hope you're all doing well. So yesterday I did a video where I ranked the doctors from Doctor Who, the main doctors. So in this video I'm going to rank the other doctors. So the doctors that weren't like full-time doctors. So that means like Jo Martin's Fugitive Doctor, John Hurt's War Doctor, and also David Bradley's version of the First Doctor, Richard Hurndall's version of the First Doctor. And I also decided to include Peter Cushing's Doctor from the movies as well. You know, because why not? So, yeah, there's only 5 doctors here to rank. So, yeah, before I start, it's just my opinion. You know, it's neither right nor wrong. It's subjective. It's just how I feel about them. I love all these doctors. You know, I have nothing bad to say about any of these doctors. I love them all, but I've got to rank them. And if you'd like to give your ranking in the comments, as always, please do so by all means. Okay. So at number 5, not that I don't love this Doctor, but it's Richard Hurndall's version of the First Doctor. Now, of course, he appeared in the 5 Doctors because William Hartnell was no longer around by this point. Excuse me. But I think Hurndall did such a great job. Sorry. Got such a frog in my throat. Yeah, but I think he did such an amazing job at being the First Doctor. While he stayed true to William Hartnell's character, he also kind of made the character his own as well. He kind of did his own thing with it. And yeah, I think he did such a good job. I would have liked to have seen more of him as the First Doctor, but unfortunately he actually died just less than a year after the 5 Doctors was broadcast. I know, apparently I heard somewhere that in the 2 Doctors, with Colin Baker and Patrick Troughton, originally, instead of having Troughton as the second Doctor, they were originally going to have Richard Hurndall's First Doctor appear instead. But that idea was abandoned when Richard Hurndall died. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but if that's true, then it would have been interesting to see how that would have played out. Although I do love the 2 Doctors with Troughton anyway. But yeah. But yeah, number 5, it's Richard Hurndall's First Doctor. Number 4, it's Jo Martin's Fugitive Doctor. Now, of course, Jo Martin's Fugitive Doctor, there's some controversy about which part of the Doctor's timeline is she from. Is she a pre-Hartnell Doctor? Is she from the future? I know there are some theories that suggest that she came between Troughton and Pertwee's Doctors, because we never actually saw Patrick Troughton's regeneration into Jon Pertwee happen on screen. So, yeah, there are theories that suggest that she was between those two. Because when we see the 3rd Doctor appear at the beginning of Spearhead from Space, when he steps out the TARDIS and collapses, the jacket he's wearing, some say the jacket looks like the Fugitive Doctor's navy blue jacket. But no, I think the jacket is black. It just looks navy blue, I think, because the sun's shining on it. That could be. But yeah, I don't really agree with that theory. When you see the 3rd Doctor step out of the TARDIS, he's quite clearly wearing Troughton's outfit. So yeah, I don't agree with that theory. Although some strongly suggest she is a pre-Hartnell Doctor. But there are a lot of continuity errors, because obviously it was the William Hartnell Doctor, it was that incarnation of the Doctor that stole the TARDIS. And when he first stole the TARDIS, it wasn't in the form of a police box. But when we see Jo Martin's Fugitive Doctor, she has a TARDIS that's in the shape of a police box. So that's that's a bit of a continuity error there. And there's some theories, and it's the theory that I think is probably most likely. She's a doctor from the future. I'm not saying that is definite. That's just what I think. I know some fans are really divisive on this this subject. Some can even get like really annoyed, but it's just what I think. I think she's a future version of the Doctor. You don't have to agree, but that's just what I think. But as a Doctor, I think she's brilliant. She's very she's very no nonsense badass. And I hope that I'd really like to see her as a full-time Doctor. I'd like to see her to see her get her own like spin-off series, because there are a lot of rumours of Doctor Who spin-offs. We're apparently getting a Unit spin-off, and I think we are getting a Sea Devil spin-off, and there's rumours of an 8th Doctor spin-off. But yeah, I'd like to see a Fugitive Doctor spin-off as well. I'd just like to see her have her own series. So yeah, that's number 4, Fugitive Doctor, Jo Martin. Number 3 is David Bradley's version of the First Doctor. And of course, David Bradley played William Hartnell in the docudrama An Adventure in Space and Time, and he was excellent in that film. I absolutely love that film. And I just love how David Bradley portrays Hartnell. So that was the reason why they cast him as the First Doctor in the main show whenever the First Doctor crops up. So he appeared in Twice Upon a Time, which was Capaldi's last episode. I think he was excellent. While he kind of stayed true to Hartnell's version of the Doctor, while also making the character his own as well. Yeah, although I loved Richard Hurndall's version of the First Doctor, I actually do prefer David Bradley's version of the character. And he did crop up again in Power of the Doctor for a brief cameo, and I hope we do see him again. And of course, David Bradley he's doing a lot of Big Finish audio dramas as the First Doctor as well. So yeah, I really love his version of the First Doctor. So he's number 3. Number 2 is John Hurt's War Doctor. So this was the secret incarnation of the Doctor that wasn't revealed until the 50th anniversary. So he came between the 8th Doctor and the 9th Doctor. So of course, years before the 50th anniversary, it was led to assume that it was the 9th Doctor that fought in the Time War, and that it was the 8th Doctor regenerated into him. But because I think Christopher Eccleston was originally meant to appear in the 50th anniversary special, but when he declined to return, Stephen Moffat created the War Doctor. And I think that was a clever idea. As much as I would have loved to have seen how Day of the Doctor would have played out with Eccleston's Doctor, I loved John Hurt's War Doctor. I love his sort of he's got sort of like the grumpy old man personality, but he carries like so much like guilt at what he's done. Well, in this case, in the 50th anniversary special, this is before he destroys Gallifrey, and you can tell he really doesn't want to make that decision, but he knows that he doesn't really have a choice. So you really feel sorry for this Doctor. Yeah, and I think it's a pity that we didn't get more of him. I know. Apparently, did John Hurt do any Big Finish audios? I heard somewhere that he did, but I would have liked to have seen him have like a spin-off as the War Doctor, but that's not going to happen now because John Hurt's sadly no longer with us, and I don't know if I'd like them to recast the War Doctor. Because John Hurt was so amazing in that role, I just don't think anyone else could do it. But from what we got of him, he was excellent. And number 1, it's the movie Doctor, Peter Cushing. Now, of course, this Doctor is obviously not, well, arguably he's not canon, because these two movies are just adaptations of two William Hartnell TV serials. But there have been theories that they're actually in-universe films. Like after Ian and Barbara returned to Earth after leaving the Doctor, they sold their story about travelling with him, and then their story was basically made into these two movies. Now, I think this theory could be true. And in Day of the Doctor, not in the actual episode, because I think due to copyright reasons they weren't allowed to. They weren't allowed to mention it or something. I don't know. But in the novelisation of Day of the Doctor, this was actually mentioned. The Peter Cushing films were actually mentioned as being in-universe movies. Yeah, so obviously, at the time these movies were made, regeneration wasn't a thing, because William Hartnell was still playing the Doctor on television. And I do know that in the movie, he's not called the Doctor, he's called Doctor Who, but it's Dr. Who, not Doctor, not the word Doctor. So Doctor Who is actually the name of the character in the movie. So yeah, he's loosely based on the first Doctor, but I think he makes the character his own. You know, he's very different from William Hartnell's portrayal of the character. You know, he's not like a grouchy, he's not a grumpy old man, he's not patronising, he's very, he's more comedic and very, you know, very witty and very sort of, you know, he's very sweet and likeable and more optimistic and adventurous. So yeah, and I think it's just such a shame we never got more Peter Cushing movies. I know there were plans for a third movie, which I think would have been based on The Chase, you know, the TV serial. It's a pity we never saw a Peter Cushing version of that story. And I am actually one of those fans who really loves The Chase. I think it's actually one of my favourite, probably is my favourite Hartnell story. And I just would have loved to have seen another, you know, a movie based on that. But yeah, I love Peter Cushing's Doctor, even though most people wouldn't consider him canon. I decided to include him because I think he's excellent, and I am a fan of Peter Cushing's work. So yeah, that is my ranking of the other Doctors. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, click the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.